Good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies for the the slightly extended intro there. Had some technical issues once again. We're still trying to figure out the best way to get this game running properly and smoothly. It's very irritating on my end. So I do apologise for that. Anyway, welcome back to Huts Gaming Assetto Corsa Competizione GT3 League Season 2. I am your host, Still Guns, which you can see is misspelt up there. It's Still Guns with an S, not a Z. We've got a few new drivers here today at Kyalami. We missed last week because I had a very late shift at work and I simply didn't have the energy to stream. So, we're here at round 5 of the championship. Currently, Team Garas leading the team's championship, Fabian Krebs leading the way in the drivers' championship, but that might change because some of the drivers that have joined and that we've seen in practice here today are looking pretty speedy. Last week we had Philip Kip, who basically clean swept which weekend? It was round 3. I don't know how things went in round 4, but at round 5, even he might be a bit outperformed. Also, I do apologise. You're probably going to hear me sniffling and coughing a bit. I have hay fever, and the pollen levels are pretty high today, so apologies for that. So, here we go then. Meow. There we go. Oh, right, so we're in qualifying. It's already a few minutes in. Do apologise for missing it. Kyalami, very different track how it was way back in the day. In fact, the section from turns 6 to just before turn 10 is the only part of this track that is the original section. So car number 69 here, Christian Dawn, he's going through the old track right now as we press drive. Oh, and it's kicked us away from him. Oh, lovely. Lovely jubbly. Right. Let's see if I can find him again. Okay, Sherlock will do. So he's going into the right-hander here. This used to be sort of just before the end of the old lap. Sort of halfway through. Going through the left turn here. We'll jump on board with the external camera to give you an idea. Ooh, getting a bit slidey, out of shape with a 963 Porsche, and then where this kink is, it would immediately go up the hill to the right, and then you'd have more or less this massive straight down towards turn 1. As you can see, it turns left here and goes down instead. So yeah, the old Kyalami completely butchered. Anyway, so how are things going here? Let's see if we can find who car number 1 is. Currently leading the way is... Can we find them? Can we jump on board with them, please? There we go. Fabian... Oh, Guglio? Oh, God, it's French. I can't pronounce French to save my life. He's with BFR, he's new here, as far as I'm aware. This is his first race weekend with us. Currently, well, he led the way quite comfortably in practice, and currently, I think he's got the fastest lap in qualifying here. 1:42.0, 1.5 seconds ahead of Laurel Fusion. Fabian Krebs going again. There we go, our current championship leader, coming through the old section of the track right now. Oh, and that might be an invalidation, potentially. And yeah, I think it is. Let's see. No, it was not an invalidation. So he's able to keep his lap time as he goes through, enters the new track section into turn 10. And it's a shame about Kyalami because this track could have ended up in the F1 calendar for 2024. But they wanted to get rid of Belgium. They wanted to get rid of Spa and replace it with this one. I mean, I don't think it should be a question of if, or of which, hang on. I don't think it should be a question of this or that. I think it should be a question of both. As we've had some more stream drops, let's see if that's going to potentially fix the issue. Possibly. We'll see for now as Fabian Krebs across the line goes only P4 behind Lindvar. Who is that? Can we find them? There's another other new drivers pulling off as I think he's run out of fuel. Andrew Priadko. Currently P2, we're 10th down. And who's our P3 man? There we go, Chico Lindvar. Oh god, that's Dutch. So it's probably got the word letter phlegm in there somewhere. Lindvar? Oh god. I'll try my best to pronounce these names, but I do apologize if I mispronounce some of them. As you can tell, English is my mother tongue. Into, I think this is turn 12. Is it? No, because there's 16. Somehow. I don't know. This is turn 16 here. So there's 5 corners in between here and all the other one as Lindvar gets rather out of shape, and I would not be surprised if he was slower anyway. 1:42.7 on that lap. Meanwhile, Angel has not come out onto the track. Cristiano Di Paolo, another of the new drivers, 14 seconds down. He's got 55 seconds to get a lap in. I think he crossed the line with more than enough time. I think that his livery is might be a tribute to Valentino Rossi, potentially. Looks like he's going rather slowly, though. He's definitely not attacking these corners the way some of these other drivers are. We are still dropping frames. I just got that ping from the streaming software. Meanwhile, Humby. Who is Humby? Can we find Humby? Has gone P1. Is that George Humby? I don't know. I can't find them. There we go. Gaetan Humby. Oh. It's more French. Currently P1, 3/10 ahead of Giulio. Oh, that's a car going sideways there. Is that might be Sand Green. As Humby looking to improve his lap here. Can he? I don't know. Has he? He has not. He was 3/10 slower on that lap. Lindvar next across the line. Currently P4. Priadko has not improved, so he will start the sprint in P3. Lindvar going very wide. I would not be surprised if he does not. Yeah, he in fact he's at the exact same time? Or maybe that was his best lap, I don't know. Sand Green, let's find the next driver along. Malcolm's pulled in. Di Paolo being overtaken by Giulio. Hitting very out of shape. Can Giulio improve? No, he cannot. All the cars magicking into the pits. Christian Dorn and Isti, who has been one of the fastest drivers. Isti manages to go P5. And he's finally... nice to see that he's finally got a livery on his car whilst we try and get back to these cars. Sherlock, P17, stays P17. So, Giorgio Di Paolo does not set a representative lap time, and I can't help wonder why. Meanwhile, Gaetan Hombe, I think that is, will start the sprint from pole position ahead of, I believe, his teammate Franco Giuliot. Oh, damn. Giulio. I'm just going to keep calling him Giulio until someone corrects me. Is it Alex? No, Andrew Priadko will start P3. Chico Lindvar P4. Isti 104 P5. Jordan Lake P6. Fabian Krebs P7. Adrian Sandgreen P8. Another new driver, I didn't catch their name. Vanshko P9. And another new driver, Ballant, will start P10. So let's jump in here and catch their names. Gaetan, Fabien, Andrew, Chico, Isti, Jordan, Fabian, Adrian, Jansko, Vansko, okay. Is that a Moldovan flag? I don't know. And Slazai. Oh, Sazla. Oh, God. Help. Does not compute. Anyway. 30 seconds, well, less than 30 seconds until the beginning of the sprint race here. Let me just check the audio levels quickly. Okay, sounds good to me. So, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Cars should be moving on the well, it's not really a formation lap. The run towards the start line on this rolling start. Car number 28, Gaetan Hombe, leads them away as we are getting more frame drops. I can't help that. I've done my best to try and eliminate them. And it's chugging away. We'll watch the lights. It's going to be... currently they're red. And... no? Green now. It's go for the race. The sprint race. It looks like the Piatko already ahead of Gouliot, heading towards turn 1. Can he take it around the outside? No, he's got to settle there for now. Isti up into P4. Been a pretty bad start for Gouliot. Oh, well, that's not the right way. Gouliot has actually, I think, had a spin somewhere. Where has he gone? Oh, I think that's another car gone around Sherlock and Fusion, and that's De Paolo making contact as well. Let's bring up the helicopter camera, give us a better idea of how things are going. This is the most cars we've ever had here today, and I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed. It's been a while since we've had this many cars. You see, currently says P4. Okay, Gouliot P4 at the minute, so I thought he's lost a bit more ground. He has not. I thought for a moment he'd been spun somewhere. I just couldn't see him. Currently, it's a pretty favourable gap in front for Hombe, ahead of Priadko. But the Mercedes, rather shocking pink, is gradually catching up. Let's see, Isti Vansko has had a pretty good start here. He's gone from P9 to P6 in the Lamborghini. We're getting more frame drops. Fabian Krebs in P7. I think he's had a pretty poor start, so he's trying to make his way back up the order if he can. Jordan Lake being hounded by Balint in the Soul McLaren. Actually, no, not the Soul McLaren. One of the two McLarens. As Linfar, fastest lap of the race so far. Car number 7, Angel, looks like he's going to be pulling into the pits maybe. As Sand Green, whoa, was that a move that he just made on Dawn, or was Dawn trying to make the move on Sand Green? Difficult to tell. There's who's that? Wolf? HRT apparently. Can't tell who it's meant to be. They're pretty new as well. Can the pink Mercedes make their way past the second Garas Porsche? Not at the minute. Maybe into the hard braking zone of the old section of track. There looks like that McLaren up ahead could be about to make the move on Adrian Sandgreen in the 296 Ferrari. Cars are a bit spread out. Oh, the number 7 Angel has had a spin or something as Christian Dawn goes off the track. That's going to open the way for Mr. Wolf to get ahead of the Porsche, and that now means Alexei Shlovic can make his way past. No, not yet. But it's certainly going to make it easier if Christian Dawn keeps making mistakes like that. De Paolo, meanwhile, right at the back of the field. Hornby will complete yet another lap in the lead. His gap not as comfortable as it was before. Well, it was actually less comfortable at the Sector 2 splits than it was at the Sector 1-3 splits, the finish line. It was about 0.5 of a second at the Sector 2 split. It's now about 0.9 of a second. Meanwhile, Giulio making his way up the inside. Oh no, he's spun him around and gets collected by Isti Vanchko. Also caught out Lindvar. Oh dear. That's not what you want to see. And I think Isti's car has been damaged. He's come to a complete stop. No, yes, he's gone. Isti out of the race. Massive damage to the 296 GT3. Oh dear. I would imagine that's probably steering arms, steering, frontal, definitely frontal damage. It was a pretty large impact. Who did he hit? I think it was one of these cars. I don't remember. Well, the fight for the front is still between Hornby and Priadko. I think it was Giulio that he hit. Where is that Aston Martin? I don't see it anymore. Oh, deep into turn 10 for Fusion. Manages to keep ahead of Big Jabber in the black Mercedes, who is the teammate of Schrovik in the silver Mercedes. The cameras trying to keep up. Oh, Bomberclap might be able to make his way past Malcolm here. Lots of fights going on. This field not yet completely spread out. Can the Bentley make its way past the 296 in front? Might be a bit of a tall order. The Ferrari is a pretty good car on this game. Can he get him into the braking zone? Maybe a little later on the brakes, taking a different line. Not going to work out just yet. That's going to compromise his line through turns 2 and 3. Oh, there's another car gone off. Which car was that? That's Valiant. Oh dear, who started P10. He was up a few positions and now he's way worse than he was before. P15, 16, 17. Oh dear. Lindvar, currently P8. I think he's made his way back up. Oh, that's J Wolf going a bit wide. I'm about to sneeze, I think. Lindvar now hounding the pink Mercedes. This is going to be one hell of a fight, one hell of a recovery for Lindvar if he can get back to the podium places where he started. Currently, he's got to stay behind the pink Mercedes. He was getting very racy through the twisty-turny bits, but now he's probably going to have to wait for a few hard braking zones as Wolf doing his level best to keep that Mercedes in front. Oh, he's had a very poor exit though. He got very rear happy. Oh god, I can't speak today. Oh, that was almost contact between the two. Got very close. Can Lindvar send it up the inside? He can. Can he make it stick? He does. And now Wolf under attack by Adrian Sandgreen, but still trying to make his way back past Lindvar if he can. But I think this is a lost cause for Wolf. He's got a lot of work to do to remake that move. Can he get back past? Don't think so, but anything can happen. Meanwhile, Fabian Krebs got ahead of Fabien Giulio. It's a bit of a tough fight at the minute between these two. Krebs bit earlier on the brakes than the Aston Martin, which is supposed to be a not great car. But here, one's leading the way and the other is P4, not that far away from a podium at the minute, for the sprint race at least. Taking a much wider line, and that's going to help him out Oh, I thought it was going to help him a lot there, taking me out to the wider line. Maybe it did for a little bit, but that gap... Well, we'll have to see how it is. Fabian Krebs going a bit wide this time. And across the finishing line, the gap has actually grown from the previous sector. But does the Aston Martin have the grunt down the straights? Not quite. Though that does force Krebs to take a slightly defensive line into turn 1. Meanwhile, the gap at the front has grown. Priadko has been dropped by Umbe to about 2.3 seconds. But this fight for P3 still on as we're a little over 9 minutes through this session, a little over halfway to go. What can the Frenchman do against the German? One is pronounced Fabien, the other is Fabien, as Krebs looked like he was getting very slidey, trying to reenact Tokyo Drift here at Kyalami, and I think that's opened the door for Giulio. No, it hasn't. He did take the little look up the inside, but just a bit too far behind to make any sort of move. How is that going to affect the gap, though? 0.28 at the previous sector split. It's now 0.36. Oh, I've heard an engine go off. That's Humbe! Oh, a long-time race leader. Something's gone wrong. His engine has just given up. He's able to keep going. I wonder what happened. If his engine did just give up and he's lost drive. Very strange place to spin, but that has promoted... Oh, any unsafe rejoin. Oh dear, that poor old Linfar. He was back into P7 and now he's losing out. Again. Where has he gone? He's still spun at turn 16. He's on the racing line as he tries to rejoin. Ah. So that has promoted Piadko into P1 with 9 minutes to go. So this is now a fight for P2. Fabian Krebs looking like he can hold on to the podium here, because Jordan Lake is holding them all behind him. Currently the locomotive in a bit of a train. Vansko going too wide at turn 6, trying to make the move up the inside. That's a move that can't be legal. That cannot be a legal move. He took to the outside of the track to make that move. Humbe, he did it much better. That was textbook around Lake, but Vansko going off the track to make the move, that's certainly going to get investigated. He has to give that back, but now that he's got Umbe behind, he's going to try and keep the Aston Martin at bay if he can. Meanwhile, these two still going at it. 8 minutes to go. Oh, Giulio almost going into the back of the Porsche there. Was able to keep it clean. The gap ebbing and flowing. Was 0.2 at the previous sector split. Now 0.5. I need to wet my whistle, so give me a moment. The field is starting to spread out a bit now. It's looking like it's going to be a fairly uncontested win for Andrew Priadko here now. And there we go. 6.4 seconds, 6.5 rather, ahead of Fabian Krebs at the previous sector split, and Krebs doing his level best to keep that Aston Martin behind. He is throwing this Porsche around these turns like he can rely on it. And he's hoping to rely on it. He wants this P2 here. I think he would settle for P3 if it came down to it. Oh, number 4 car, that's Wolf, has had a spin of some description. Where is he? Oh dear, he's had a spin at turn 9, I think that was. Very unfortunate, he was doing very well there. Khalid Malcolm, P10, no, P9 rather. Just behind Alexei Shlovik. Rather garishly coloured on the wheels on that Ferrari. Can that Ferrari make its way past the Mercedes? You would imagine it would be able to. Hounding the AMG. Throwing it through some of these corners. And I think has Giulio got... No, Giulio has not got ahead of Krebs. But that gap, you can see, it is almost nothing. They're almost touching bumpers. These two, this is a battle for the ages here, and it's just a sprint race. Reduced points, essentially. You're not going to get the full points for this. With 5 minutes and 30 seconds to go, Fabien Giulio trying his damnedest to get past. But could it be too little too late? Well, there's still 5 minutes to go. Still plenty of time for things to go wrong for Krebs or to go right for Giulio, who makes the dive bomb. But, oh no, and it catches him out. And he's pulling off just to make sure that Krebs can hold on to the position. Humbay got back into P2. It's all gone wrong. This battle was not meant to end like this. Credit to Giulio for stopping to continue the fight properly, but that has cost them both big time. That's certainly going to get investigated. It was a very opportunistic move, a bit too opportunistic. That means Humbay back into the podium places and chasing down Priatko, but he's got a lot of work to do. I don't think he's going to have enough time. There's been more contact behind. Oh no, it's both of the ARX Biscuit Racing cars. Jordan Lake and Adrian Sandgreen seem to have come together with each other. Didn't catch what happened. There's a lot of chaos going on in this race. A bit too much chaos, if you ask me. I just want some clean racing. Please. So, with all that kerfuffles earlier, Humbay in P2, Jansko Vansko in P3. From nowhere. Bloody hell, this guy has just been... of course, he does have that potential penalty, can't speak still, looming over his head after he made the move off track. I'd imagine at least 5 seconds. Meanwhile, Krebs and Giulio still fighting. Fortunately, only lost one position, 2 positions each, and I think this time Giulio is... Oh, it's a mirror. It's the opposite. I think Krebs felt very hard done by that move. You see Giulio flashing his lights, but Krebs, I think, maybe did that move on purpose, potentially. Felt that he had been hard done by. Irritated that he'd lost all those places. So he decides, how do you like your medicine? Taste of your own medicine. Of course, it could have just been a very innocent mistake. They both tried the same move and the same thing happened. Well, actually no, Krebs wasn't trying to overtake there, he was trying to hold on to the position, I think. So, with just over 2 minutes of the race to go, plus whatever is remaining of the lap, as Christian Dawn gets a massive tank slapper through turn 1. Able to keep it on the track, but he's lost a bit of time to Khalid Malcolm, and could now be under threat from John Bomberclat in the Soul Bentley. If he makes any more mistakes like that, at least. Meanwhile, Malcolm still on the tail end of Shlovik. very difficult for him. He's finding it very difficult to get past. And I think he's losing time. He's actually gone off. He got it all wrong. I thought that car was taking a funny angle, and he just lost it through. I think that was turn 8. Oh dear. That could have been a good battle too.
Alright man, the leader is on the final lap. Give it a final push.
Final lap for the leader. Number 70 AMG Mercedes of Andrew Pradko. He's got a mighty lead. Umbe 11.8 seconds behind. There's no way he can make up that time. And this is more or less how the field is going to finish. I can't see Bomberclat making his way past Christian Dawn. The gap is more than a second. Maybe Khalid Malcolm could make his way back past Level Fusion. A bit of potential fighting still up ahead. Gulio has caught up with Fabian Krebs. I think these two could both get penalties for the incidents at turn 10. And it's make it or break it now for the Aston Martin driver, the BFR driver. Trying to go around the outside of turn 7. Has to hang back. Can't make the move through turn 8. What about turn 9? He's definitely got a bit of a better line through there. Is he going to make the dive bomb through turn 10 again? No. He can see the writing on the wall. If he was going to go for that again, there would be more contact. And Krebs actually moved over to defend as well. So I think this is how things are going to end. Priadko crosses the finishing line to take victory in the sprint. Oh, Krebs has gone very deep. What happened there? He must have had one hell of a lockup. He's thrown that position away. And Gulio was going to take that opportunity, hook, line and sinker, except that would assume that he was bamboozled. He was not bamboozled. He took that like it was on a gift platter. So Krebs has to finish P5. Shlovic holds on to P6. Christian Dawn P7. Bomberclat P8. Level Fusion P9. Khalid Malcolm into P10. Balint only P11. Lint has to settle for P12. Wolf P13. Sherlock P14. Jabber P15. Coming through the final corner now. We've hardly focused on him. DePaolo P16. And Adrian Sandgreen, Angel, Jordan Lake all did not finish, I think. And we've actually completely lost Isti. Come on. Yeah, so Isti, I think, is just completely left. So that's the sprint race. We'll have another, what's it called? 8-minute long qualifying session for the 40-minute feature race. Come on, mouse. There we go. Yeah, only 19 drivers. Let's see. Can we see if Isti has said anything? Has he decided? Yeah. In the Discord, we've got Linkvar being very disappointed. Rejoining safely is too much to ask for, innit, bruv? Well, he didn't say bruv, but still. You can certainly understand his frustrations. Who the hell is that? Oh, of course, I've got to update my username on Discord as well. I hope no one's... Let's... Yeah. If anyone steals my username, I will be very upset. In fact... Let's see.
Green light, go, go, go.
Yeah. What? Hang on, what? Why is my name changed? Get rid of streamer mode, please. I need to see mine. Ah! Turn it off. No one can see it. Why does it only say S? I'm not S, thank you. That's irritating. Right, there we go. Apologies for that. I just had to make sure that no one was going to steal my username. Because if someone else decided to say, oh, I'm still guns, who knows what things can happen. I know, for example, that there's an Indonesian bag company that is using my name. And I don't know which of us came first. I took the name first way back in 2009. But, well, I think I took it first. I don't know when this bag company came along, but... And I think there's someone else out there who might be using the name too. I don't know. So, first cars out on track, both of the Grass Porsches. Fabian Krebs ahead of his teammate Christian Dorn. Car number 79, William DeVar. Third on track. Oh, pardon me. Apparently, Malcolm and Ballant had a big battle between themselves. I didn't see that. Anyway, Fabian Krebs. We're going to watch the things from here, as we're going to be able to more easily choose the cars. Yellow flag already. Car number 24, just going a bit slowly, opening up a gap maybe. Meanwhile, Fabian Krebs, come on, let's get a better camera angle if we can. Going through turn 3 now. I think this may have once been the old pit straight, actually. Potentially. I don't know. Going into the old section of the track now. Turn 6. And 7. Wait, does this kink, just where car number 70 is, does that count as turn 1? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? It must count as turn 1. It's a kink, not a turn. Anyway, into turn 11, Krebs going way too wide again. Something must be wrong with his brakes. He's taking way too long to slow down. He's into the third sector now. Into the hard right-hander of turn 10, 11, 12, 13. That's 13, 14, 15. So there's not 16 corners. Ugh. Come on. He's going into the final corner now. He will set the benchmark at a... Where's the finishing line? 1:43.0. Christian Dorn crosses the line behind him and has invalidated. And Lindvar immediately faster than Krebs with a 1:42.6. Car number 23, Sand Green, 1.1 seconds down. Laurel Fusion also 1.1 seconds down, but just faster than Sand Green. Fabian Krebs, who's just gone a bit faster. Don't know. Car number 40, Slovik, has not set a lap time, or rather he's invalidated. Bomberclat next. Across the line, 3.7 seconds adrift. Jay Wolf next across the line in the pink Mercedes. Heading down towards the line and 1.1. Oh, and then immediately the two BFR drivers take the first two positions again. Umbay 7/10 down on Giulio. Car number 111 as number 46 DePaolo 14 seconds down as Malcolm gets a tank slapper again. I wonder why DePaolo is so slow. Why is he 14 seconds down? It's like he's just going for a Sunday drive. Oh, I mustn't crash. Let's just go at the speed limit, yes. 70 miles an hour. Something. He's even though he's going that slowly, he's still having tank slappers. Anyway, Fabian Krebs, can he improve? He has not. We've got Biscuit, is it not Biscuit? Balint coming out. Lindvar, 6/10 down on Giulio, he has improved. Christian Dawn still has not set the lap time. We've got 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. Priadko about to set a lap time himself. Maybe he invalidated, maybe he was just on his out lap. Slovik now 2.1 seconds behind. Bomberklat, can he improve? He is now 2.8 seconds behind, so he's had a much better lap. Umbay, can he improve his 0.7, his time for 0.7 down to pole? He moves to 0.26 down instead. His teammate, I think, improved alongside him, moving the goalposts just a little bit. The number 4 of Wolf, 2.2 seconds down now. Khalid Malcolm looking to set a lap time. He's gone very wide at the final corner. The number 24 has gone round. Malcolm has not set a lap time. He's still got a bit of time left. Short Erlock 2.9 seconds down. Now back to the beginning of the train again. Fabian Krebs. One of his final 2 laps that he can really put in. Nicely does it through the final corner. Can he improve? Currently 1.5 down, only 1.3. He's still got another lap or so. Balint now about to put a lap on the board, I think. No, I think it was just his out lap. Christian Dawn still not able to get a time on the board. This is his last opportunity to do so. Priadko about to set a lap time here. And he moves up to P5. Oh, Sherlock had a spin at turn 7. So he's out. Then we get to the 2 BFR drivers once again leading the way. Humbay and then Giulio. So Humbay will set a lap time first. Across the line, and he does not improve, but Giulio does and increases his gap to 0.4 of a second. As the session has come to an end now, so everyone is on the end, the final lap, the final time they can get a lap in. Still getting things a bit wrong. Khalid Malcolm, I think he's gone a bit wide once again. He finally does get a time on the board. Goes P12. Car number 40 off. He's lost out. DePaolo still treating it like he's going for a Sunday drive. Going very slowly. Slowest of anyone. Does not improve. Number 27, Fabian Krebs again. Across the line, can he improve? He does! Moves up to 1.1 seconds behind and P6. Balint about to put a lap time on the board. And only P11. The number 23, Adrian Sandgreen, does not improve. I don't think Fusion has either. Andrew Priadko next. Currently P5, and he improves to P4. Moves ahead of Lindvar. And I think Giulio might actually get another lap in here, as well as Wolf, potentially. Oh, Giulio going a bit slideways there. Can he improve his pole position time? No, he's gone very wide. That's not going to be an improvement at all. Crosses the line, finishes the session. And finally, J. Wolf, P6 only. Yeah, he's the slowest driver, but 4 drivers did not manage to set a lap time. Angel, Jabber, Isti, and Dawn, Christian Dawn. I don't think Isti is even here. I don't see him. Yeah. Angel, Jabber, Isti is not here. He has quit. Christian Dawn, despite having many laps, did not get a time on the board. He just kept invalidating. But other than that, De Paolo, slowest by far. 12.6 seconds down on the pole time of a 141. He's doing 153s. Maybe even 154s. I want to know how that's possible. So Giulio into pole position, ahead of his teammate Umbe. And we will move that away. That's the thing I wanted to have. There we go. That's a bit more sensible. I forgot about that. "15 seconds until we get moving." And the feature race will start momentarily. We're dropping frames again. I just heard the stream decide to go ding again. Irritating, because we didn't have that 30 minutes ago. Seems to be doing okay for now. Vanchko... what? Vanchko is P3. I think Humbe got a bit sidetracked there. Had to make his way back past all the cars. Green lights will be going out in any moment now, and green for the final race of this evening, and Humbe already into the lead. Vanchko trying to go through the middle of both of the Aston Martins. Oh no, it's a bit of collisions. Contact between... oh, that's not what you want to see. Massive contact. Not a huge crash, but still not what you want to have happen. That was initial contact between Priadko and Vanchko. The game still hasn't caught up. Umbe leading from Giulio. The two Astons having swapped positions. Priadko into P3. Vanchko now P4. Lindvar under attack by Fabian Krebs, who is also under attack by Jordan Lake, who has to go off the track as he gets squeezed off. Balint trying to make his way up the inside of Jordan Lake now. And I think it might be coming to pass. Yeah, Balint ahead of Jordan Lake going into turn 10. Can the Ferrari fight it back? No, he cannot. Not at the minute, anyway. Screen dropping frames again, because it wouldn't be a set of Corsa otherwise. J. Wolf moving ahead of Big Jabber, or rather, Big Jabber's had a very good start. He didn't set a lap time. He's into P12 already, though we did have some contact down the field. Sandgreen has a drive-through penalty. Khalid Malcolm, P17, moving ahead of De Paolo. And Fusion, I think, has been the big loser here. Look at the damage on that Mercedes. So the two Aston Martins still leading 1-2. But they've still got company. Priadko, Vanchko, and Leanfire and Krebs just a bit further behind them. Can the McLaren prove any threat here, as he's now got some clear air ahead of him to try and make his way onto the tail end of that pack, but he could be dragging Fabian Krebs along with him. Balint still ahead of Jordan Lake. Can the Ferrari hold on for now? Currently P8. Slightly better line through turn 8. Maybe turn 9. Oh, yellow flag. That's Adrian Sandgreen. Yes, it is. And he's actually retired. Or jumped back to the garage. There's going to be a bit of a penalty. Meanwhile, Jordan Lake going up the inside. Can he make it stick? He's got his nose alongside the McLaren. He's got to left off a little bit. But he's making a dive bomb, I think. Yes, he is. Making the dive bomb into turn 13. Not working out, but you've got to give him the credit for trying to make the move there. Very nicely done. Even if it didn't work out in the end. Meanwhile, Lindfart dropping Krebs by a little bit. 142.7 for him. No, 143.2 rather. And Krebs actually had the better lap. I was focusing on the wrong driver. It's Vansko I was looking at with the 142.7. These leading four gradually pulling away from positions 5 and 6, who themselves are pulling away from the cars in P7 and below. Vansko, who, if I remember correctly, did finish the sprint in P3, I think. Now, trying to make his way back onto the podium, try and get past Priadko, who's going very wide at turn 7. We've not been focusing much on Vansko, who was a bit of a nobody in the previous race, aside from the move he made off track. And it looks like the two Aston Martins getting a bit argy-bargy with each other. Sure, they're not making contact, but they're starting to get a bit close for comfort. And Pradko and Vansko have first and front and second front row seats to this. Though Vansko obviously wants to try and turn that into a front row seat. He doesn't like the ticket he's been given. He wants a better ticket. He wants to take Priadko's ticket. I don't know what. Just not making sense here. Meanwhile, we've got a bot dropping things in the text, leaving walls of text in the chat, rather. So don't click on any links in that. You can see by the fact that he's that it's typed .com rather than actual full stop dot. Yeah, you can tell that link is going to be very dodgy. So do not go to that website. Ignore it. It's a bot. Fabian Krebs is falling into a bit of no man's land. He's now 1.4 seconds adrift of Chico Lindvar, but 5 seconds ahead of Jordan Lake, who still has that McLaren of Saslai Balint. A bit too close for his liking. Bomberclat, meanwhile, P9. Could be some decent points if he can hold on to it, but he's got a pair of Mercedes behind who would like to say otherwise. And Bomberclat has had the spotlight on him a few times. He did... Which race was it? Was it round 2? I don't remember which round it was, sadly, but he did have a decent race at some point that unfortunately didn't come to pass. Things went a bit wrong. So he would like to finish in P9 and get some good points. But the BWT Mercedes of J. Wolf and the SPS Silver Mercedes of Alexei Shlovik, they would like to make their way past. And it looks like Jay Wolf is getting ever closer to the Bentley, and you can see the difference in lap times. Night and day between P9 and 10, but almost exactly the same between 10 and 11. Literally only 200ths in it. Whilst with Bomberclat, he was about 7/10ths slower. No, I think it was more like 5/6 slower than Wolf. So these Mercedes definitely catching. Can Wolf make the move? If he can keep on to the tail end, throw out the anchor, well, not the anchor, use a grappling hook if he can get one, become James Bond. Is that what the J in your name stands for? Oh, Bomberclat getting a bit out of shape. You could see him sliding, and I think this is opening the door for Wolf, who's side by side with the Mercedes. Sorry, the Bentley rather, and he makes the move into turn 10. Nicely done by Jay Wolf. Bomberclat now into P10, and he's got the second Mercedes of Alexei Shlovic behind now to contend with. Been a poor race for the two 963 Porsches. Sherlock's Angels Porsches. Fusion in the other BWT Mercedes, there is a slightly different looking one. With that massive amount of damage, is fighting with Khalid Malcolm for P14 now. I think we just had a retirement. The 18th place driver has disappeared. Meanwhile, there's still this bit of a fight at the front of the field. The two BFR Aston Martins gradually dropping Priadko 2.2 seconds back to the Mercedes. The Aston Martins inseparable at the minute. Gouliot would like to take back his pole position if he can. P1. Or maybe there's a bit of a gentleman's agreement going on, like we had with Prost and Senna, sort of. Whoever's first into turn 1 keeps that position. The first time around, not the second time. Though I don't think there's going to be much of a gentleman's agreement. These two are going to fight the best they can, even if they are teammates. At least I hope they do. It would be rather boring if they just come across the line in position in P1 and 2 without fighting. Meanwhile, Jordan Lake has dropped Ballant. Possibly a mistake by Ballant. Didn't see one though. Well, of course we weren't looking. Meanwhile, that's Bomberclat being hounded by Shlovic. And we knew that this was going to happen. The Bentley just not able to hold on. In fact, his last lap was pretty shocking. 146.0. His best lap, a 144.7, I think. And I think this is the writing on the wall for Bomberclat. The Mercedes looking like it's gonna get past on this lap as we are 10 minutes into the feature race. Shlovic taking a look up the inside of turn 1, but deciding against making a move. Last lap for Bomberclat was a 145.4. Last lap for Shlovic was actually the same, slightly slower. So Shlovic finding it a bit more difficult to get past the Bentley than Wolf did. Although Bomberclat going very slowly through turn 6. Shlovic has to take avoiding action, but is able to make the move into turn 7. Thank you, ma'am. Bam, wham, thank you, ma'am. Ahead into P10. And now he can make his way back after the sister Mercedes. Well, not really the sister car. It's only a sister Mercedes in the fact that he came out of the same factory. Oh, I thought that was Wolf's car conking out. It was not. So now the pink Mercedes chasing after an orange McLaren. Thank you, that's a great camera angle. So Krabs looks like he might be catching Lindvar a bit. Last lap was 142.7, only 0.2 off his best. 143.2 for that particular lap. Slightly faster than Lindvar's was. So, Krebs slightly catching Lindvar here. Vanchko, meanwhile, going a slightly different route through turn 2. That's not helped him out here. 1.2 seconds behind Priadko now. The two Aston Martins, though, still locked together. Surely Giulio is going to try and make his way past Umbay. I would be surprised if they didn't. Maybe they're just so equally matched that they just can't find a way past each other. Or Giulio can't find his way past, rather. Sort of a bit later on the brakes by the looks of things. Let's see, can we find a throttle trace? I think that's a throttle trace in the bottom, so he's using low traction control on his front wheels. TC18, TC288. There, we do have the throttle trace. Identical settings for the two Aston Martins. Let's see what the lap times are. Last lap for Giulio was his best. 141.9. 142 for that lap. 141.8 is Humbay's fastest. 142.2. So Giulio had the slightly faster lap there. But not by much. Still completely inseparable for the two Aston Martins. And it should be noted that Umbay has the fastest lap here at 141.8. Very nice lap. Going a bit too far. And I think Giulio's had a bit of a shoddy first sector there. He's a bit further behind Umbay. Oh, number 69, that's Christian Dawn, going slowly. I think he's had a spin or something at turn 13. Oh, he's got damage. Oh dear. That's not what you want to see. He's currently 16th. He's now the second to last car on track. The only other driver who's slower is De Paolo, who we know is more than 10 seconds off the pace and is about to be lapped 15 minutes into this race. Get out of the way, man. Blue flags. He thankfully doesn't make his he fortunately doesn't make his M4 too much of a rolling roadblock. But yeah, he's gonna be a bit of a chicane, mobile chicane for everyone. Because now Priadko's got to make his way past. Fortunately, he's getting out of the way. Thank you. Get out of the way. On Lindvar. Oh, look at the difference between the laps. Lindvar only 3/10 slower than Krebs. These two neck and neck as well. Oh, Vanchko! I think Vanchko got caught out by De Paolo there. Oh dear, down to P6 now. Didn't see exactly what happened. I was focusing too much on the lap times, but oh my god. He's been holding on to P4 for ages, and I think that I really think this should be a 107% rule sort of thing here. De Paolo is just way too slow. He is a mobile chicane here. At just 10 seconds off the pace is unbelievable. I don't think he's even using full throttle. Does he even have full throttle? Yeah, look at his throttle trace. It's not maxing out. He probably thinks he's going full throttle, but he's not. I think he's got an issue with his pedals. If he's using a wheel, or maybe if he's using a controller, it's not registering the entire travel. He's only going about 90% on the throttle. Look at that. That's probably why he thinks he probably thinks he's going super fast and wondering why everyone's going so much faster. He's not got on full throttle trace. Yeah, okay, so De Paolo, this is the reason why he's so slow. His throttle is not maxing out. I mean, look at the car behind. That's almost completely maxed out. I don't think the green bar is going all the way there, but yeah, it's definitely much less of the way along for De Paolo as Bomberclat's going quite wide into turn 3. So yeah, that's something we've got to bring up. De Paolo, too slow. Mainly because his throttle is not going all the way. Oh, the two Aston Martins though. Giulio had a much better line through turn 10 there. We'll bring back the broadcasting stuff. There we go. And Giulio, I think, getting mighty close to the tail end of his teammate. Thought that was a black flag waving there. It is a black flag. It's in the grandstands though. These two Aston Martins completely inseparable. You couldn't force a wedge between them if you could. 142.090 for Giulio, 142.3 for Humbay. So definitely a worse lap for Humbay. I wonder if he's taken a bit too much out of his tyres. He does have the dirt. Well, he is the sledgehammer for the air, so to speak. He's got to cut his way through, whilst Giulio gets the slipstream, the clean air, so to speak. Well, it's dirty air, technically, but I don't know how much of an effect dirty air has on GT cars. I wouldn't imagine too much. So we are now basically halfway through the race. 20 minutes and 20 seconds to go. And Slovic looks like he's catching Ballant here. Or did Ballant get ahead? Oh, Ballant, I think, is definitely falling behind Bomberclat. Right on the tail end of Slovic still. So the Bentley's still holding on.
Not over yet.
Well, so Wolf is in P8, so he did get past Ballant. Somehow. 149.3 was Ballant's last lap. 144.6. So yeah, it's definitely been a very poor lap for Ballant. Something wrong happened for him. Oh, and he's got something even more wrong has gone there. Gone even more wrong. Oh, and he's collected Bomberclat. Fortunately, it doesn't look like much damage to the Bentley. But that he got all out of shape. Took way too much curb. I think his suspension possibly a bit too stiff, but he's picked up a fair chunk of damage. That's going to make him even slower. Meanwhile, the two Aston Martins, a bit more space between them. 7 tenths at the finishing line. What is it going to be at the split? Still about 7 tenths. Lindfart taking a bit of the runoff at turn 5, but still fairly safe to Fabian Krebs, 2.7 seconds behind. I wonder if Vanchko can make his way back. I think he might be closing on Krebs. It's difficult to tell. Might be a bit better through the corners. 142.6 was his last lap. Krebs 143.3, so definitely Krebs going a bit slower than Vanchko. Bomberclat. I wonder, is Ballant faster than Bomberclat here? Even with the damage. I would not expect the McLaren to be faster, given that he's got his front is a bit open. It's definitely not looking quite so smooth on the front end of that car. So closest battle on the track, aside from the leaders, Sherlock and Malcolm. Though I don't think there's going to be much fighting between these two. We'll probably miss it out because there's still fighting between these two at the front. You just can't separate these two. You couldn't even wedge a pin between them. I know I've already made that sort of analogy, but I can't think of anything else. The gap is closer than it was in the previous lap, though. 0.4, 0.3. This might be the move coming. Humbei does seem to be slower through some of these corners now. I don't think he's picked up any damage. Oh, I can hear something. Pietko going off at turn 7. He's got it all wrong. Oh no, it is. That's an unsafe rejoin. He's not collected anyone. And now he might be passed by Vanchko, who was staring at his arse half the race, and now Pryadko, the sprint winner, his rear tyres are cooked. Now only P6. He's got a lot of work to do if he wants to try and get back to the podium, but now Lindvar, who had such a torrid sprint, with 16 minutes of the session to go, he's into P3. So a podium is a nice little consolation prize for being bullied in the sprint. Meanwhile, the two Aston Martins, look at the gaps. Giulio had the slightly slower lap that time, but it's hundreds between them. Come on, we want to see a battle, not holding station. Giulio, fight! Fight for me! You can get past him! Give us some entertainment! The gap just not really moving. Still 0.3, it's a little closer. I think there is a bit of dirty air coming into play there. Giulio did seem a bit more wider. Did take a sort of a wider line through turn 6. Oh, I thought he was going to go off for a second there. I thought he was over-rotating. Very difficult to tell which way this is going to go. At the minute, the Humbei is holding on to P1. But the gap behind is not comfortable. Oh, I think... Did he get it wrong? No, he's just wider. It was difficult to tell where Giulio's car was. But the gap has actually grown a little bit, so I wonder if Humbei's wider line there was actually the more advantageous one to take. So I'd imagine Giulio's going to have the slower lap again this time around. We'll watch the lap times on the leaderboard, and Giulio's caught up again. As De Paolo has damage, so yeah, he definitely did collect Vansko earlier. And once again, 149.9, 142.0. You just can't separate these two. They've got... It seems their strengths are in different places, and I think De Paolo pulling off, I think his car's just died. No, actually, I think his engine's on. He's just giving up. So Krebs, P4, but Vansko is close behind. He's back into P4, but now he's staring at the arse end of another car. The Porsche Grass of Krebs, who would dearly like to take home at least a P4 from this race, but Vansko is looking mighty. What was Vansko's last lap? 142.6 again. 142.9 for Krebs. 142.670 seems to be a lap time that Vansko has been doing a lot. It's very consistent driving for Vansko. Krebs, I thought he was sliding a bit there. Can the Lamborghini make any moves? I think he's a bit too far behind to make a dive bomb into turn 10. But that gap has shrunk by a huge amount since we last looked at these two. Meanwhile, the gap up front has grown to 0.8 of a second. And yes, Giulio had a lap time 0.3 slower. So maybe Giulio's tyres are a bit cooked. There are 12 minutes and 30 seconds of the session remaining. And it's still all to play for. Oh, Wolf going a bit wide at turn 14, I think that was. And Bomberclat ahead of Ballant now. Still ahead of Ballant. So that gap has also shrunk. It was 1.3 the last time we looked. It's now half a second. And even though the Bentley doesn't have much damage from that collision that they had earlier, 45.3, yeah, Ballant had a much better lap, 144.7. So if this continues, Ballant is going to get back into the top 10, and Bomberclat is going to be out of luck again, and especially if he does that, goes way too deep into turn 2, and that is the Bentley out of the points. That is not going to be happy Bomberclat. And now, right on the tail end of the McLaren, I thought he was going to try and make the move here. Would be a bit silly if he did try to make the move. So there we go. Bomberclat falling a bit further behind with every corner. Oh dear. Sherlock, meanwhile, I think has fallen behind Malcolm. The last time we saw them, it was definitely the Ferrari behind the Porsche. Things haven't quite worked out for Sherlock. And these two still locked together. I think the gap has shrunk a little bit. 142.1 for Umbe, 142.0 for Giulio. So Giulio is catching. Meanwhile, Vanchko has, I think, just managed to get past Krebs. We missed the move. I think it was a move into the hard left of turn 2, which is really technically turn 1 because turn 1 is a kink. And it was a very nice defense from Krebs, but in the end, the writing was on the wall. Our championship leader, who is very good compared to everyone, all our regular users, but against all these newcomers, he's seeming a bit, limp. He's a good driver, but everyone else just seems to be so much better. Vanchko, Lindvar, Giulio, Umbe, just so much quicker. That Krebs, who is a fast driver, and even Isti, who is also a fast driver, they just seem to have no steam. So now it's up to Krebs to try and hold on to P5 now, as I thought I heard some more tyres squealing. Something's going wrong. I'm pressing the wrong buttons. I was pressing shift to go to different cars rather than the right button. It was meant to hold shift and then press left and right to switch to the cars, but I was holding left and then pressing shift. Oh, Krebs! Getting very close to Vanchko there, who took a very narrow line through turn 2. With that gap growing again, so the Lamborghini probably not so good through the corners, but it just depends how the cars are set up, really. 143.2, 143.0. 143.0 as well. Angel lapped, and the two Aston Martins still inseparable. 142.14, 142.37. So Umbe had the slower lap there. There's now 8 minutes of the race remaining, and that's Giulio getting much closer. Come on, we need to see some battles. Just as long as it doesn't turn into argy-bargy. And Giulio is the closest he's been in quite a few laps. What is the difference? 1:42.2 for Giulio, so 2/10 faster, almost 3/10 faster than Umbay. But still not close enough. There's yellow flags somewhere. That's the number 40. Oh, and I think this is Giulio making his way up the inside. Come on, give us a better camera angle. Oh, I thought Giulio was making his way past Umbay. It was side by side for a little bit, but didn't work out in the end, and we didn't get to see it because the cameraman decided to go to sleep. He was drinking schnapps, I think. Still, the race between these two is now starting to really hot up, with now less than 7 minutes to go. There's not a lot of time for Fabien Giulio to try and get past Gaetan Umbay. The cameramen around this track are drunk, I swear. I don't know what a South African beer is. I don't drink beer, or wine, or champagne, or any alcohol for that matter. So, I couldn't tell you what is popular down there. But the cameramen certainly, at the very least, they're sleepy. We're gonna watch these guys for as long as we can, because now as the race is getting into the final stages, this is where the battle is, the main battle between these two teammates. Gaetan Umbay in the number 28 and Fabien Giulio in the number 97. The gap has grown a little bit. 1:42.8 for Giulio, 1:42.597. So about 2/10 difference. Giulio had the slightly slower lap than Umbay. And the gap's growing a little bit. Now closing. Absolutely inseparable. We've got more yellow flags. That's Angel. Possibly went a bit wide at turn 14. There's still no change. Giulio, who had pole position, I'm pretty sure he had pole position for this feature race. He's trying to... Oh, he goes wide! And that's the first proper mistake we've seen from this guy, from one of these two drivers in this feature race. It's hurt him. The gap has grown to 0.8 of a second. But he's still in touching distance. It's still not over. And he's actually closing the gap again. That marker, the interval shrank from 0.8 to 0.7. 4.5 minutes left. That's not many laps. Oh, Giulio's going wide again. You can see how much he's pushing that Aston Martin, and now the gap is colossal. 1.7 seconds. I think he's finally overdone it. 1:42.5 for Umbay, 1:43.9 for Giulio. And given how quick these two drivers have been, how inseparable they've been, I don't think Giulio's gonna be catching up. Or if he does, he's not making the move anymore. He's scrubbed his tyres. He's possibly caused a little bit of damage somewhere in his car. The gap is growing. Umbay is now home clear for a race victory. There's probably not enough time for Giulio to get, or to really even catch up, given how quick they have been. Priadko made his way past Krebs at some point, although he's going on Tokyo Drift through turn 4. I didn't see the move, but Krebs has now lost out to 5 of the new drivers. So now he's the lead of the original set of drivers, the championship leader, only P6, and now potentially under threat from Jordan Lake. I think I know what happened. Fabian Krebs has picked up a huge amount of damage. I didn't see that before. I wonder if there is contact somewhere. This would explain why Jordan Lake is now so close and could take that position. He's going to be so much faster down this short little straight. Can he make the move? Oh, it's getting mighty close. He's going to be so much better through the corners and the straights. I think it's only a matter of time until Jordan Lake can pass Fabian Krebs. And in fact, Krebs going very wide at turn 13, and Jordan Lake will take that. Yeah, it's been handed to him on a silver platter there. Bomberclat still holding on to Ballant. Bomberclat at least back up into P10 after Slovik. I think something went wrong for Slovik. He was P8 at some point, I think. And now he's lost out and is fighting with Khalid Malcolm for P11. As there are now a minute and 35 seconds to go, plus whatever lap is left. Where are the leaders? They are heading into P10 turn 10 now. So this is the penultimate lap that everyone is on. It's been a race to forget for some of these guys, and a race of what could have been for Fabien Gouliot, our pole sitter. He has caught up a little bit, but not enough. Gaetan Humbert, a minute of the session remains, but this will be the final lap. It's not really a minute, really. It's closer to 2-3 minutes. We'll get the spotter saying final lap in just a minute.
Leaders on final lap time.
Leader on the final lap, 142.6, 142.3 for Gouliot. So Gouliot is still fighting back, closing the gap, but it's not going to be enough. Not unless Humbert makes a massive mistake. All he has to do is bring it home. It was a close race between the two, absolutely inseparable at points. But in the end, Humbert is the driver that is going to come out on top. He just has to keep a clean lap. Do everything right. Through the old section of the track for the final time. Turn 7, turn 8 and 9, known as the S's. And the kink where there used to be the right-hand turn up the hill, and turn 10, which is now the left-hand turn down the hill. In fact, Humbert putting in a mighty lap. He's already opened the gap again to 2.2 seconds briefly, 2.1 now. I wonder if he's going to put in the fastest lap of the race, because his fastest lap belongs to him at the minute. It's a 141.8. Can he put in an even faster lap? Not sure. We will see as he comes through turn 15 for the final time to take victory in the feature race for Kyalami.
The leader has finished the race.
He does not get the fastest lap on the final lap, but it was a stonking lap. 142.3, 143.3 for Fabien Gouliot as well. Lindvar has Vansko for company, but the Lamborghini just too far behind to take back the podium. Lindvar takes P3, Vansko P4, Priadko will take P5 ahead of Jordan Lake. Fabian Krebs is going to have to come home in P7. He's safe from from Wolf behind. Jordan Lake across the line. Wolf, Angel, 2 laps down after having to spend a couple laps in the pits. We lost a few drivers. We lost Sand Green. I don't see Jabber there, so Jabber's out of the race too. We lost De Paolo. Who else have we lost? Let's return to the garage and see. I don't see them. I want to see who else was here. Balance will come home P9, Bomberclap P10, so it should at least be some points for him. Shlovic comes home in P11, just ahead of Khalid Malcolm. 0.246 of a second. Very close between them. Fighting to the line. And yeah, there were some of the drivers. Isti didn't take part. We lost Sandgreen 22 laps ago. Jabber, Christian Dawn, and De Paolo. I think this must have been accident damage between some of these drivers at least. Yeah, turn 1 crash for Jordan, for Wolf, turn 1 crash of some description. But yeah, that's what caused all that damage and why he was so far back at one point. But there we go. Umbe is our race winner. Fabian Krebs is going to take a bit of a hit in the championship after only finishing P7 in the sprint, and I don't remember where he started, where he finished in what's it called, in the sprint, whatever. So yeah, BFR, as Jabba says, they did not come here to just play around. They have been absolutely dominant, mostly. Only a few mistakes here and there. That's one hell of a statement to make on your first race with the championship, with the league. But yeah, there we go. Next week, I don't know if we're going to have a race next week, because that's when F123 is going to be releasing for most people. So, I don't know what's going to happen. We might have a race, we might not. But we'll see. Until next time, though, if it's next week or the week after, we shall see you soon. Take care, and until next time, good night.
We'll be right back.